Namaskar. COVID-19 upended the global film industry, halting film production and closing cinemas, massively impacting the film industry across the globe. Well, today in India, Prasar Bharati, the Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, released a set of standard operating procedures or SOPs while allowing the shooting of the film and television shows to resume all across the country. So it's back to sets, it's back to business as far as our TV and film industry is concerned, and that is going to be our talking point tonight on News Night. I'm Sakalbat, but first up, here are the headlines. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister releases standard operating procedures for resuming work in film and television program shooting across the nation. Social distancing and periodic sanitation of shooting venues made mandatory. No audience to be allowed on sets to avoid crowding. Film and television industry wholeheartedly welcome the decision of government to bring out SOP for resuming production work. Madhur Bhandarkar thanks Prime Minister Modi for always encouraging and supporting the film industry, while Subhash Ghai says industry will pick up pace again very soon. In other news of the day, BJP President sounds the poll bugle in Bihar and announces that BJP will contest elections together with JDU and LJP in the state. Says people of Bihar would continue to repose faith in the BJP and the NDA. Targets the opposition, saying they lack vision and are bereft of ideas. Leadership crisis again shakes the Congress party as 23 senior Congress leaders, including 5 former chief ministers, write to Sonia Gandhi demanding a full-time leader. Also demand complete overhaul of the organizational structure. Home Ministry issues fresh guidelines for international flights under Vande Bharat scheme. Stranded Indians to be registered at the Indian Embassy of the stranded country. Registration not required in countries covered under airport transport bubble arrangement. Security agencies raid ISIS terrorist Abu Yusuf's house at Balrampur in Uttar Pradesh. Recover a suicide vest, explosives and landmines from his house. Detained 4 people for further questioning. Terrorist was arrested from New Delhi's Dholakua area on Friday earlier. Flood situation in Bihar continues to remain grim, with over 83 lakh people in 16 districts worst affected. UP also faces flood fury and state government sets 2,000 relief camps for affected people. Mobile teams assess health of people across the state. And on the COVID-19 front, recovery rate from COVID-19 rises to nearly 75%, with over 22.8 lakh recoveries reported. Fatality rate further falls to 1.86%. Global case tally reaches grim milestone of 23 million cases, with over 8 lakh fatalities reported worldwide. And back home, Prime Minister Narendra Modi shares his love for nature via Instagram, feeds peacocks at his residence during his morning routine of exercises, and places tower-like structures where birds can make their nests. Prime Minister Modi also shares a poem on nature. And now on Newsnight, the top stories in detail. COVID-19 pandemic upended and impacted the global film industry. It halted film production, and cinemas across the globe were closed, massively impacting the industry business across the globe. The Indian film industry was also hit, impacting livelihoods of lakhs and lakhs of workforce involved. Today, Prakash Javadekar, the Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, released a robust set of standard operating procedures or guidelines or SOPs while allowing the shooting of the film and television shows to resume all across the country. So basically, it's back to sets, it's back to business. We have this detailed report. Take a look.
Production of films and TV serials had come to a halt for the last couple of months because of the coronavirus pandemic and the subsequent lockdown. But with unlock being implemented now, life is coming back on track. The Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has taken up the task of ensuring that production of films and television serials across the country resumes. On Sunday, Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar issued an SOP related to media production. Developed in consultation with the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Home Affairs, shooting for films and television serials can now resume. According to the SOP, except for the people facing the camera, everyone else will have to wear masks.
We are today releasing the standard operating procedure for film shooting and TV program shooting, because last 6 months many parts of the countries have seen complete closure of this segment of industry, and few states have allowed partial shootings. But today we are laying standard operating procedure as per the international experience, and with the consultation of Health Ministry and with the consultation of the Home Ministry.
According to the SOP, those employees who are on higher risk need to take extra precautions. 6 feet social distancing at shoot locations must be maintained, and minimum cast and crew should be present during shoots.
This is an important aspect of economy, and it employs millions of people, and they were not getting jobs for last 4-5 months. Therefore, we have issued this to facilitate now the production activity to resume, and in all respects. And I am very sure that everybody will welcome this, and all states will implement it.
The film and TV industry plays an important role not only in India's economic growth but also in creating brand India. Last year, on the inauguration of the Film and TV Museum, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said, "An integral and important part of India's soft power is our films. They represent Indianness in the eyes of the world. Our films have been an attraction to the whole world. Our films keep doing well at the box office and, moreover, play an enormous role in increasing the credibility and in creating a brand for India." The INB Ministry is doing all it can to ensure that activity in the film and TV industry returns to the new normal in wake of the challenges that the coronavirus pandemic poses. With Shailendra Mishra, Bureau Report, DD India.
And the film fraternity and everyone associated with the cine and television industry, the producers, actors, directors, they've all welcomed these standard operating procedures released by the ministry today. Some reactions.
Announcement by the Government of India and Information Broadcasting Ministry, SOP, for the film industry to start the shooting. It's a great initiative. Since last 6 months the industry was completely shut and there was no shooting, but this news is definitely encouraging. I would like to thank Honorable PM Shri Narendra Modi ji, who's always been encouraging and very supportive whenever our film industry fraternity met him. Big thanks to you, sir. And thanks to Prakash Javadekar ji to put this initiative for the film shooting. And we all definitely have to follow the norms. We have to follow the measures which is there in the SOP written by the Government of India. And we all have to follow this.
The SOPs announced by the government is very good. In fact, if followed meticulously, it will ensure there is nil spread of corona. We once again thank our Minister Shri Prakash Javadekar ji and his entire team for announcing these SOPs and giving us permission to shoot immediately.
We're very glad that the central government has issued some very clear shooting guidelines for us to follow going forward. State governments have issued these guidelines as well in the past, but it's important that there was some sort of a directive from the center, and now it has come. We intend as an industry to follow all the safety protocols that have been prescribed, and we hope that in the future we will have shoots that will be conducted that will be keeping all the safety protocols in mind and will have a safe and a healthy environment for the cast and crew. Once again, we're very thankful to the central government for going ahead and issuing these very clear guidelines.
And Uri director Aditya Dhar has also expressed happiness over the shops released by the government for shooting. He has tweeted, and let's quickly take a look at Aditya Dhar's tweet. Aditya Dhar of Uri fame saying, and I quote, "Thank you so much, sir, for this extremely detailed SOP, which will ensure a safe working environment on set. I urge all production houses to kindly follow this so that we can safely resume work and go back to doing what we enjoy the most, folded hands."
We, the film studios and the senior workers of Northeast India, welcome and appreciate the SOP of I&B Ministry to cope up the challenges of COVID-19 and to continue the artistic production smoothly during this COVID-19. We thank Honorable I&B Minister Sri Prakash Javadekar and his team for this SOP, which is designed so systematically, covering everything of our artistic productions.
So now let's take a detailed look, especially first up, we're going to explain in detail the standard operating procedures that have been released by Prakash Javadekar, Minister of Information and Broadcasting. Let's quickly roll out those features for you because we're talking about back to business, back to sets. First up, let's talk about the general standard operating procedures. This include face masks are mandatory at all public and workplaces. Also, frequent hand washing and provision of hand sanitization is something which is still being pressed upon. Spitting strictly is prohibited in public places, plus use of Arogya Setu application or app is also advised like earlier. Physical distancing to be maintained of at least 6 feet at all times at all places. Now let's talk about the specifics. Let's move and talk about SOPs at the shooting sets in particular. What does this entail? It talks about thermal screening at various entry points. Remember, we are talking about the shooting sets, the action where it happens. Only asymptomatic people will be allowed on the shooting sets or the premises of the shooting sets, followed by specific markings. Specific markings need to be maintained to manage long queues as well. This also includes frequent sanitization of workplaces and the common facilities that will be used in the shooting premises. Besides that, also use of posters, standees, audiovisual media of COVID-19 preventive measures, basically displaying all of this will also be encouraged. Besides that, the seating arrangement while maintaining adequate social distancing on the film sets is also part of the SOPs, which also includes, let's move on, no contact transaction for tickets. This is important. There's not going to be any physical contact while ticketing or ticket distribution is concerned. And how that is going to be covered? By promoting more online bookings, by promoting e-wallets, QR code scanners. All this needs to be used more and more. Besides that, physical distancing of 6 feet has to be maintained. Face mask covers mandatory for the cast and crew while shooting on the film sets. Besides, the minimum use of props is what the SOP is also talking about. Sanitization of these props is mandatory before using these props on the film set. Now back to sets. Now let's talk about the specific SOPs or standard operating procedures for actors. Very, very important. Face covers, masks are again mandatory for the cast and crew. Repeated, masks are exempted but for the actors only and only in front of camera, naturally. Now let's talk about the workforce. Makeup artists, very important. Hairstylists, extremely important. They all will be using PPE kits on the film sets. Sharing of costumes, wigs, etc. This has to be kept bare minimum, very minimum as per these SOPs. Also, the lapel mics may be avoided, or if you can not even share the lapel mics, that is also what the SOPs are talking about. Besides that, direct contact of these mics with the diaphragm of the mics has to be avoided. So this was an overview as far as the SOPs of the cast and crew is concerned. The important do's and don'ts. Now let's move on and talk about the larger impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on film and television industry. Let's talk about some numbers. Now, Indian film industry, as we speak, its worth evaluated estimation is at rupees 191 billion. That's whopping number. Now, film segment has grown from 10% in 2019 to actually reach this 191 billion mark. And also we know for the first time in history, we had the zero, the entire India box office registering zero during the COVID-19 period. 1,833 movies were released in India only in 2019, that is pre-COVID era. India actually makes movies in as many as 28 languages. We are talking about the regional languages. Out of these regional languages, more than 200 of them are only produced by our Hindi film industry in Mumbai only, Amchi, Mumbai. Now, according to the Producers Guild of India, 35,000 daily wage workers are the worst hit. We're going to talk about them as well. Besides this, rupees 18,500 crore worth Hindi film industry, that's the estimated evaluation of only the Hindi film industry. More than 5 lakh jobs were at stake during these COVID times. 70,000 crore television industry. Let's talk about the TV industry as well. They also faced similar issues, the staff associated with it. Multiplex industry in India employs more than 200,000 people directly. That is also which was also worst hit. Workforce accounting for nearly 60% of the revenues of the film business, which means the entire film business, if you talk about the corpus of the film business, 60% of it comes from the workforce, the crew, all those who are associated with the crew. And the release of almost 55 films were postponed or delayed during COVID-19 period. Therefore, some of the films, some of the production houses, media houses also opted for direct or digital releases through various platforms. We are going to take a short break, but on the other side, please don't go away, because we have a very distinguished, highly nationally and internationally accomplished panel of directors and producers joining us on the other side of Newsnight, because in focus we are talking about these SOPs in great detail. Back to business for TV and cinestars and film industry on the other side. Stay with us.
पक्की होगी बुनियादें तो हंसे हिंदुस्तान होगा।
Located in Old Goa, the Basilica of Bom Jesus is one of the oldest churches in the state. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Basilica holds the mortal remains of Saint Francis Xavier, a 16th century missionary and a pivotal figure in the spread of Christianity outside Europe. Bom Jesus, literally meaning good or holy Jesus, is a term often used in the countries of Portuguese colonization. The construction work on the church began in 1594 and it was consecrated in May 1605. One of the oldest churches in Goa and in India has a marble floor inlaid with precious stones and the main altar holding a large statue of Saint Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of Society of Jesus. Styled in Baroque and adorned with the figures of Christ and his apostles at the Last Supper, the altar table is used in Holy Mass. Nestled in the heart of Goa, the place is thronged by hundreds of tourists every day. and is also a symbol of India's composite and secular identity.
राष्ट्रपति भवन स्थित जयपुर स्तंभ 145 feet ऊंचा ये टावर.
Let me quickly go across to our very special panel joining us to talk about the significance of the standard operating procedures in focus. That's going to be a talking point tonight. SOPs for industry release, which means what does this really mean for the robust film industry and the workforce, which runs in thousands and thousands that they are associated with it. It is going to impact them majorly. Thank you so much, all of you. Let me quickly, in fact, welcome renowned film producer Neel Mehtab Panda, Padma Shri Neel Mehtab Panda, Special Jury Award and National Film Awardee as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Neel. And also, I'm very glad and honored to have on Doordarshan Shaji Karun, Shaji K. Karun, film director, highly accomplished national level film director. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. Shaji Karun, of course, one of the most renowned directors in down south, and very glad to have Manju Bora, Assamese film director of national and international repute, also joining us on the national broadcaster. All of you, really appreciate you joining us. Neel, I'm going to quickly come to you. Your quick views. It was a long wait for the entire film fraternity. But despite the losses, do you think, first of all, these SOPs are enough? And how soon is the industry now going to kickstart the work, especially the robust workforce that has been impacted? I'm talking about the daily wages. I'm talking about those who were worst hit.
Well, we all have been waiting for a long time because many people, it's not only daily wages or anything, because you have to understand that we entertain the world. And back of the mind, we always, everybody says that we are preparing for script, we are preparing for production, but we have been waiting to shoot because many of us had our productions dues, from TV to cinema to everything. And also for last 5 months, like you said, there are many workers in the millions of families who are dependent on the industry, have nothing. This would help a lot. I'm really thankful to the ministry. I'm really thankful to Honorable Prime Minister to have this announcement. This is a big hope, big news for all of us.
Okay, Shaji and Karun, but in the implementation of it, and especially the minimization, the contact minimization, and restricting not to have the crowds on the sets and adhering to the guidelines during COVID times, what are the challenges that you foresee in terms of its implementation? At the end of the day, it's going to be a film shoot.
Yes, exactly. And we are very thankful. We are waiting for this day to realize that many of the films which we started, even March is being stopped, and many films that are being planned, screenplays, many people out of work for a long time, especially from the light boys onwards, and the makeup man and the hairdresser and the heroes and heroines and many areas. They are coming back with a clear SOP, and I have to thank Honorable Minister Javadkar ki support for doing this for the film industry. I'm extremely glad that we could start it. That is very confident level that we are going to start it. And another thing is that many of the films which are due for the releases in the coming Diwali and everything, this is a perfect time getting a SOP for the right way. And many of them are perfectly written, even much guidance are given there, and we can follow it
Okay.
with, yes.
Okay, Manju Bora, could you please come in here and also talk about now how much time will the industry really require to cover up these losses? It's been a long due, because do you think the implementation of these SOPs and make it, it's now going to be, in fact, it is already as we speak a new normal. It's actually going to slow down the pace somewhere, but that is fine. That's okay as long as the shoot continues, isn't it?
We really welcome that the Ministry of INB, Prakash Javadekar today he has announced to start the shooting again for TVs and cinemas, because I think this is at this tragic moment, this situation, cinema workers are the worst sufferers financially, even in the regional film industry like in Assam. Last 5-6 months were terrible. All the workers, especially the technicians and the artists, and these are creative people. They do not know how to earn their earn their daily wages otherwise. They do not know how to work in other fields. So this is the high time, because we do not know how long this situation will prevail. So it is very essential that we should follow the detailed guidelines. These guidelines, SOPs I have seen, these are quite detailed. If we can follow it and implement it while shooting, but for big productions, I think it will be a little bit difficult, because with small, crew members and all, it is okay. But to control a bigger production house, it will be a little bit difficult, especially if you want to shoot in the indoor studios and all, studio floors. It will be quite difficult. Just think about the makeup artist, for how long we can wear this bikini kit and do the makeup for the artist.
But we
So
do have a, yes, Ms. Bora, but we do have a very mushrooming and popular regional film industries, respectively. You talk about North, South, you talk about Northeast, Assam, of course, you are a very, very known name in the Northeast circuit. You think this is enough? Though these are very comprehensive guidelines, but do you think this is enough? Practically speaking.
These are enough, I think, if you can follow, because you see, nowadays this new generation, especially in Assam, they are making films independently, with a very small unit members. So I think it is possible for them to start their work again. But only thing, I feel that the guidelines which have been given should be strictly followed, and frequently it should be reminded to the people, not to the workers, that these are the things. They should not get carried away at this moment, because the spread is still there. The spread of the COVID-19, it is still there. They should not get carried away. They should be very cautious about the situation, so that no artists, no technicians, they fall sick and spread it to the other people of their family members or to the society. So I feel that it should be followed strictly, and very frequently they should be reminded, it should be reminded that these are the guidelines, you should follow on this, you should take care of everything.
And Neil, is that, right ma'am, Neil, is that going to be a challenging area, sustaining the implementation of this?
I don't think it's a big challenge, because ultimately in last 4-5 months, we have really seen, we have made films, we have made a lot of awareness films. Many filmmakers have done song, films, a lot of ways we have created awareness. Okay, so this is very easier thing to be done, because we realize how fatal is COVID-19, and we all are conscious as humans, and humans always find that adaptability always. In fact, this is a big day for all of us, that officially government has announced this.